Welcome to History in Flames. Empires rise and fall, the past comes alive in fire and ash. They subscribe and relive the stories that shaped the world. When the First World War ended in 1918, Europe did not return to normality. The war had drained economies, destroyed infrastructure, and killed millions. Entire empires that had dominated the continent for centuries collapsed. Their collapse left a political vacuum across much of Europe. New states were created, often without strong institutions or stable economies. Many of these new borders were contested or poorly defined. Millions of soldiers returned home expecting peace and opportunity. Instead, many faced unemployment and social dislocation. Inflation rose sharply in several countries. Some places inflation spiraled into economic collapse. Savings disappeared, wages lost value, and trust in governments weakened. At the same time, democratic governments were inexperienced and fragile. Many states had little tradition of democratic rule. Political violence became common in several countries. Fear of revolution spread, particularly after events in Russia. Many citizens associated democracy with weakness and instability. Strong leadership began to appear attractive to wide segments of society. Political extremes gained support by promising order and security. National humiliation also played a powerful role. Many believed their nations had been treated unfairly by peace settlements. Territorial losses intensified resentment and political radicalization. Economic hardship and national anger reinforced each other. Moderate political voices struggled to compete. Radical ideologies filled the space left by weakened institutions. The post-war period became a breeding ground for extreme solutions. This instability did not affect all regions equally. Some states stabilized, while others drifted toward authoritarianism. The continent entered the 1920s deeply divided and uncertain. The conditions that shaped the 20th century were already in place. From this environment, new ideologies would soon emerge. Fascism first emerged in Italy during the early 1920s. Italy had been on the winning side of the war, but many felt betrayed by the peace settlement. Economic instability and political violence dominated Italian society. Fear of socialist revolution played a major role. Fascism presented itself as a force of order and national unity. From Italy, fascist ideas began to influence movements elsewhere in Europe. Nazism developed in Germany under far harsher post-war conditions. Defeat in war deeply affected German political culture. The Treaty of Versailles imposed severe political and economic restrictions. Hyperinflation and unemployment weakened public trust in democratic institutions. Political extremism flourished as moderate parties lost influence. Nazism combined authoritarian rule with extreme nationalism. By the early 1930s, the movement gained mass support. Once in power, the ideology became the foundation of state authority. Communism emerged earlier, during the Russian Revolution of 1917. The collapse of the Russian monarchy created a power vacuum. War exhaustion and social inequality fueled revolutionary movements. Unlike fascism and Nazism, communism emerged through revolution rather than elections. The new Soviet state reorganized society under centralized control. Communism presented itself as a solution to class inequality. Each ideology emerged from crisis, but in different national contexts. Geography, war experience, and political tradition shaped their origins. None of these ideologies appeared in stable political environments. All gained support by promising decisive solutions. Public frustration played a key role in their rise. The early success of each system encouraged imitation and expansion. By the 1930s, Europe was ideologically fragmented. Different paths had emerged from a shared post-war crisis. These origins would shape how each ideology later spread. The stage was set for ideological confrontation across Europe. Fascism spread primarily through influence rather than military conquest. Its emphasis on authority and national unity appealed during periods of instability. Fascist movements appeared in several countries during the 1920s and 1930s. These movements adapted local traditions rather than copying a single model. Political imitation played a larger role than direct coordination. Fascism's spread remained uneven and dependent on national conditions. Nazism spread in a fundamentally different way. Once in power, the German state used military force to expand. Territorial annexations preceded full-scale war. During the Second World War, expansion accelerated dramatically. Military occupation became the primary tool of ideological control. This expansion reached its peak before reversing. Communism followed yet another path. For the Second World War, its influence remained limited geographically. The outcome of World War II changed this balance. Communist governments emerged across Eastern Europe. Outside Europe, communism spread through revolution and alignment. Ideology and geopolitics became closely linked. Each system relied on different mechanisms of expansion. Geography played a decisive role in determining reach. War acted as a catalyst for rapid change. Peace settlements reshaped ideological boundaries. Political systems hardened along these new lines. Some regions experienced repeated ideological shifts. Others remained largely outside these systems. Expansion was shaped by opportunity as much as intent. By the late 1940s, Europe was divided along ideological lines. These divisions would define the Cold War era. The spread of these ideologies reshaped the global balance of power. Although often grouped together, fascism, Nazism, and communism were structurally different systems. Fascism emphasized national unity under centralized authority. It did not follow a rigid economic doctrine. Private property generally remained, but under strong state direction. Nazism shared authoritarian governance, but added a racial ideology at its core. Its policies were closely linked to expansion and territorial ambition. The system combined political control with racial hierarchy. Communism focused primarily on class rather than nation or race, sought to eliminate private ownership of major industries. Economic planning was coordinated through the state. Fascism prioritized national strength above economic theory. Nazism combined nationalism with a defined racial worldview. Communism defined society through class struggle. All three systems centralized political authority. Political pluralism was limited in each system. Opposition movements were suppressed. However, their ideological foundations remained distinct. Fascism emphasized nation and order. Nazism emphasized race and expansion. Communism emphasized class and economic restructuring. The consequences of fascism, Nazism, and communism reshaped the 20th century. Entire regions experienced dramatic political transformation. Borders changed repeatedly through war and settlement. Large-scale conflicts emerged from ideological confrontation. The Second World War became the most destructive outcome. Millions of lives were lost across battlefields and civilian populations. Cities, industries, and infrastructure were devastated. Occupation and territorial control altered national boundaries. Political systems collapsed and were replaced. After 1945, Europe entered a new geopolitical reality. Communism expanded across Eastern Europe. The continent became divided into opposing political blocs. This division shaped decades of global tension. Military alliances and strategic boundaries hardened. Ideology influenced conflicts far beyond Europe. Internally, societies were reorganized under centralized authority. Political freedoms were often restricted. Opposition movements faced suppression. State power expanded into daily life. Economic systems were reshaped. The legacy of these ideologies did not end with their decline. Their effects remained visible in political structures. Historical memory continues to shape public debate. Interpretations vary across regions and generations. What remains constant is their historical significance. These ideologies influenced war, peace, and global balance. They reshaped borders, economies, and societies. Their consequences defined much of the 20th century. Understanding these outcomes provides historical perspective. History reveals how ideas once in power can transform the world. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more. Share your thoughts below.